Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad-vyapta dehaya Dakshinamurtage namaha Gukarastvandhakaro vai. What is it sounding like? Huh? Gukarastvandhakaro vai. Rukarastan-nivartakaha Andhakara-nirodhitvat Gururityabhidhiyate. Om Sahana-vavatu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The entry, the so-called entry of Bhagavan. And what is this Bhagavan? Satchidananda Atma. That which is existent, that which is in the form of awareness, as in I am, that which is all-pervasive, that which never comes to an end, that which is unchanging, limitless, nitya, ananta. So this Atma, equipped as it were with the power to create, sustain, resolve all names and forms, went ahead and manifest this whole universe. And then that is not so remarkable, but that this manifest universe is non-separate from that which we call God. Anything else for us is just odd. Okay? Yeah. G silent. So the whole universe is non-separate from Bhagavan. This is exactly what we have to see. And that's why the whole entry, Pravesha Shruti, it is in fact got a name. That the name of this portion is Pravesha Shruti. It is referred to as the Shruti which talks about the entry of Bhagavan into all names and forms. And here there is heavy quotes everywhere. I may as well hold my hands like this. As though there is no entering, first creating and then entering, because time itself is relative. Space itself is relative. So, but we have to have a way of conceptualizing, and the grammar is finite and limited. And with the help of this grammar and with the help of words that are again finite and limited, we reveal that limitless, infinite I. Very beautiful. And we'll see exactly how that is done. And that's exactly why the mind and the speech have to beat a silent retreat. Unable to catch, name, kill, conquer, eat Brahman. So this whole entry Shruti, Pravesha Shruti, which is called, becomes a very important part of the vision of Vedanta. Why? Because it is relatable, it is a necessary step before understanding that all that is here is myself alone. That's a little too much. All that is here is myself. Yesterday, one satsang question came, like, come on, how do I see all this is myself? It looks so different. I cannot say I am the neighbor. I cannot say, just because some person. Now there is some French fellow, I forgot the name, who is the richest person on the planet. And so I cannot say, okay, I am him and his money is my money. I can say that, but that does not make it true. There are many, many differences, and those differences are apparent. Those differences are painfully evident. Along with my own limitations, vis-a-vis those differences or whatever those differences bring up. They bring up shortcomings on my part. They bring up all kinds of limitations, so to speak. So, therefore, the entry Shruti is very important because it gives us, so to speak, it introduces the fact that this consciousness is equipped with all knowledge, all intelligence, and this all-knowingness of the one who has projected this universe in a manner that is non-separate from this knowing being. And so there, connecting to the source makes us undergo what is called the last frontier of duality. This is very, very important. I want you to listen carefully. And why is this the last frontier of duality? Because here I am saying everything is Bhagavan, everything is the goddess, everything is the Lord. There is no me, there is only Bhagavan. And in fact, the hymn called Shri Rudram exactly proceeds on this note. Everything is you. There is no me. Because whatever I thought to be myself is really you alone. My body? Well, what body? Yes, it is my body. Well, did you make it? No. Did the mother make this body? No. As I say many times, if you go ask the mom, Mom, did you make brains? Do you know how to make brains? What will she say? I wish I did, because I would have given you a better set of brains so that you would not ask silly questions like this. That's what she would say. So, therefore, this is a very important thing to reckon with here. Body given, mind given, senses given, vak, speech. Speech is for complaining, given. Ability to complain, given. Ability to have a complex, given. Ability to remove the complexes centered on the I, given. Shastra, teaching, given. Teacher, given. Ability to study, given. Ability to stop complaining, given. It's all given. And so, and then in this whole set of all the things that are given are also given certain things which I do not like. So many things I don't want. I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't like this, I don't like that. So many things given. One way to go about this is to try to settle accounts with each and every person you do not like. Take them to task. Why do you exist? What for has Bhagavan made you? There is no room for two of us. Go away somewhere. All this you can do. But where do you stop? Where is the stopping point here? Everybody and each and every person, you try to reconcile this and settle accounts with each and every Nama-rupa in the universe. Every snake, every scorpion, every cockroach, every bat, every rat, you have to settle accounts with. That means the lifespan is not long enough. And in that short lifespan that we have, we will be complaining all the time. Complaining, crying. And what else is there in this life? So therefore, when we Ishwarize the universe, is there such a word? Yes, there is. If not, it will be. There are new words in the dictionary all the time. Every year they say certain new words have been taken into the dictionary. And so, this way, there is, what is that? There is one game, Wordle. That was not a word, but now if we say Wordle, everybody knows. Without a hurdle, they know what a Wordle is. Yeah, very easy. So like this, the word Ishwarize will also become very popular. You Ishwarize it means you Ishwarize the neighbor who you do not like. You Ishwarize the person who you think is inimical to you. You Ishwarize the forces in the universe that are going against you, including karmic forces. Karmic forces means those forces that are just okay? Icky. So that's what it is. So karmic forces, Ishwarize. Difficulties, Ishwarize. What does it mean to Ishwarize? Means you see a truth beyond that particular phenomenon, beyond that particular person, beyond your own body, beyond your own mind. You see that there is a universal truth, the presence of which is manifest in the form of these universal laws that are inevitable. Oh, but I want to change them. Change them. I can't change them. Okay, come to Vedanta. That's all there is. If you can change them, change them. Who is stopping you? Nobody. Go for it. People have all kinds of ideas, especially if they have not been studying Vedanta for very long, if it's an unfamiliar body of knowledge. They say, Vedanta makes you passive because you're supposed to accept everything. You don't accept everything. Why? Because Bhagavan has given you a head, okay? And with that head, in that head are a few brain cells, and you can use that to change whatever situation that appears to be inimical, to follow your ambitions, to be proactive in having certain goals. Nothing wrong. In fulfilling your desires, nothing wrong at all. But then what? Then there are so many hidden variables. Even though you try to control a lot of things, you can, and you do control a lot of things. Still the neighbor gets the promotion and the other neighbor gets the reward, the prize. Why? Because obviously there are many hidden variables over which you have no say at all. Everything is going swimmingly well, but suddenly there is some obstacle that you could not have predicted at all. You were this close and then it was taken away. The opportunity was taken away. You were this close to a breakthrough. You almost had it. You were dreaming of the Nobel Prize, but somebody else went there before you. Happens all the time. In fact, the story of a jiva's life is the story of missed boats, missed buses, missed opportunities. That is what it is. So obviously, it is a painful and a constant reminder that one is not in control. And a natural progression of this understanding that one is not calling all the shots is to take recourse and take refuge in that entity who is calling all the shots. From the standpoint of this individual body-mind-sense complex, ahankara, I notion, there is something to surrender to. You go to the source. You don't try to fight with each and every ghost in your life. Like the fictional character Don Quixote, fighting with imaginary warriors and ghosts. You don't do that. You go to the source of everything. That is why it is the last frontier of duality. Yes, here also, in the process of supplication, surrender, worship, etc., you are still reproducing the duality, but still it is a provisional, temporary thing until this knowledge is gained. Because otherwise, it becomes a very tiresome affair. There is a maxim in the Sanskrit language. We have 40 such maxims. One of them is called, they are all called nyayas. This one is called Prathama Malla Nyaya. Malla is the generic name for a wrestler. So, if you go to some village and you want to be a reigning champion of wrestling, you want to be the best wrestler, what is it that you have to do? You challenge what? You challenge the reigning champion. You challenge the current champion, you displace that fellow, and then you become the wrestler. It's not that you go and fight with every urchin on the street. It's not necessary. So here too, a similar thing is happening. You go to the source. And going to the source itself is the first step in Ishwarization. We will take this step by step. So the first step is understanding there is a source over which I have no control, and being able to approach that source in any name, in any form, in any manner. That's very, very important. Because all names are the names of the Lord anyway, because everything being Bhagavan, everything being the goddess, it makes no difference. It's all one. So you go to the source. Oh, but I don't feel like praying. Don't pray. I feel like abusing Bhagavan. Go right ahead. I feel like saying, why did you do this to me? Go ahead. Where else will you say this? If you say this to the significant other, then the word significant will drop off and the person will be othered. Okay? You can't say this to family people. Why did you do this? Why are you like this? All these things you cannot say. You can say it in therapy, but then there are issues with the therapist also. You feel the therapist is kind of lazy and not trying hard enough. All these issues are there. Where are you going to go? You have to go to a place where you can be free and talk your heart out. That is why Bhagavan is called a super therapist, and Vedanta, Pujya Swamiji always said, is super therapy. Super therapy. And you see all the iconography, photographs, anything which depict God, Lord, Goddess, whatever it is. And you notice something right away. They are all smiling. They are all smiling. And they are holding the blessing hand. This is called Abhaya Mudra. Abhaya Mudra means, don't fear, I am here. It also means, look at my hand, I'm not holding a stick to beat you up with. It is empty. Why? Because I recognize that you do enough beating of yourself. I don't need to beat you up. There's enough self-flagellation happening, self-critique, non-acceptance, self-judgment already is happening. You're beating yourself up day by day, as though it's a ritual. Just before you sleep at night, you beat yourself up. As soon as you wake up, you beat yourself up. I don't have to do this. I show you the hand of no fear. Don't fear, I'm here. And then they're all smiling. Slight smile. And a glance of love. A loving glance. And so, relating to these myriad forms, which we have in the tradition, that's the second step in Ishvarization. First is acknowledging that there is something other than, there is something that I cannot control. And second is approaching that source. How to approach? Any which way, wherever you are. If you want to take it up with the Lord, you can. How dare you do this to me? In other traditions, if you say like this, you will be excommunicated. It's called, what is that called? Blasphemy. In our tradition, it becomes a form of prayer. Why did you do this? Who are you? Who do you think you are? Don't you know that other idiot who got the promotion is not at all qualified for this job, and you are supposed to be the giver of the fruits of karma? What do you know? You don't know anything. And what does Bhagavan say? All the time. That anger is worked out. How long can you be angry? Anger is what is that called? A projection on the Shanta self. Shanta means naturally peaceful I. Anger is a interloper. It comes whenever the raga dveshas, strong preferences and prejudices are in play, and it comes whenever they are not fulfilled. So after a while you get tired. You get tired and you just say, okay, all right. And then step 3, then the prayer in the form of abuses quietens down and undergoes a transformation into a prayer for this, that or the other. Well, I have heard that you do this and you can give this and you have done that, and in the stories, in the Puranas, you rescued this elephant called Gajendra who was caught by the crocodile. And you went so fast, and you even forgot your angavastram. You forgot even half of your clothes. And you forgot the chakra. Your disc, your insignia, you forgot because you were in such a hurry to rescue Gajendra. And in fact, Mahalakshmi had to courier these things so that he could use them. That's how FedEx was born. So, she had to courier them so that Bhagavan would have these things to vanquish the crocodile. So then you can say, I have heard all these things about you. Can't you do this little thing for me? Then it becomes a prayer. Give me this, give me that. And somebody says, oh, you should not ask Bhagavan for silly things. Bhagavan is big and you can't ask Bhagavan to give you a job. Job is so small. If anybody tells you that, tell them to give you a job. Okay? Yeah. Simple. Tell them, okay, I won't ask Bhagavan, you give me a job, employ me. And this was my last salary and I'm used to these perks. Give me and I will not ask. Who else to ask? So then, there is a slow minting of a bhakta, of a devotee. Slow. And in this minting, you see that there is some transformation in you. The first transformation you see is that, okay, I have already done the ask. I have asked, and so now I can relax. I have done my best. I have waved the lamp, I have offered a few dry fruits, nuts, whatever. I have done my duty and I have asked, let's see what happens. And here there is a purely action and result of action connection that is going on, which is very, very beautiful to see. Because as you grow in the tradition, as you grow in the knowledge of Vedanta, you understand that what is inhibiting your progress in the world is not some entity called Bhagavan, but your own karmic residues, karmiki residues, ikki residues from this or other lives. This karma that was earned, this karma here means result of action, that was earned in this or previous life is the cause of pain, is the cause of discomfort, is the cause of lack, is the cause of loss. When you understand that, and you will, as long as you are attending the classes side by side, you will understand that. And when you understand that, that brings us to the next step in Ishvarization. I forgot which number we are in. This is 4? Okay. So, the fourth step is to see that when I pray, I unleash more karma. What is the karma here? Action. I am engaging in action whose results should come, correct? So what stops the results from coming is my own karmic load. They say viral load, when they discuss COVID, etc. So this is some kind of a karmic load. So the karmic load is there. And that is what is inhibiting the fulfillment of my desires, my goals. This fourth step is very important. That's when I stop blaming everyone and I stop blaming myself as well. The pointing finger stops, I don't blame Bhagavan, I don't blame myself, I don't blame the universe, I don't blame the people in the universe. I see that there is a law called karma, which is again a manifestation of Bhagavan. And in this law called karma, in this law of karma, what is happening? There is a lot going on. That karma is stopping me from gaining what I want. The karma phala means the results of karma are of two kinds. That which is obvious and immediate, and that which is invisible and is it's like a time release capsule. For certain heart conditions, etc., you have like a sustained release thing. So that it works the whole day. Certain things, the medicine releases immediately. But for people who are suffering from some heart disease and everything, they need that comfort throughout. They need the systems to, they need the system to function and all the symptoms to abate, and keep it for 24 hours until the next pill can be taken. So there is a sustained release kind of a thing. So this karma is like those slow release capsules. Slowly it is coming to fructify in my life. And what is the it? I don't know what I did. And it's not literal. It's not like, I hit somebody and then somebody hits me. That would be very boring. And it denies Bhagavan a sense of humor. Karma is always funny. If you look at it objectively, it is extremely hilarious. Very, 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 very funny. And then we have this... so this karma is coming, and what is it? It's called adrishta. Adrishta means invisible. I don't see it coming. I don't even know what I did. And this slow release karma is coming and denying me and making things difficult for me day by day by day. What do? I unleash another set of adrishta in the form of prayer. That's what I do. I unleash this adrishta. Adrishta means this karma. Again, every karma has a visible and an invisible effect. The visible effect is a sense of relief. I sigh with relief. Okay, I have prayed, I have done everything I can do. The rest is in Bhagavan's hands. That is the relief. That is the obvious and the overt result of the prayer. But then there is a slow release as well. And so what does the slow release of the prayer do? It goes and attacks the adrishta, the other slow release of all the obstacles. This one attacks, neutralizes if it is, if it is a weak prarabdha. If the karma is weak, it will neutralize, otherwise it will mitigate. So this is a very practical thing. This prayer becomes a very, very practical thing. So this is the bhakta called gimme, gimme, gimme bhakta, okay? In Sanskrit called artha bhakta in the Bhagavad Gita. Artha bhakta is the one who says gimme, gimme. Why hasn't it come? I want it now. Give it to me now. This is the bhakta. Then after that after a few gimme, gimmes, and then what? Yes, Bhagavan gave me. Amazing. I prayed and it happened. The relationship gets a little stronger. Then, as the relationship gets stronger, Bhagavan becomes more real. It's not just the altar. Some altar where I go and say, give me, give me, give me. This is the fifth point here in Ishwarization. There is a relationship developed. Oh no, I forgot to change the water. I'm so sorry that you're drinking water from 3 days old. Here, have some fresh water. Now one is graduating beyond the gimme, gimme, gimme. You see, this is something which is very interesting that's happening. You go to Vrindavan, Mathura, all these temples in the winter, and you will see the Lord dressed in woolen clothes. And here you go to Dayalaya, our Swamiji's place, and you see Pujya Swamiji's statue wearing a woolen shawl. And that's very beautiful to see. Rationally, you know, okay, how can a statue catch cold? But you're not relating to the statue. You're not relating to the statue. That which is invoked in the statue, to that you are relating. You see, this is different from gimme, gimme, gimme. You are now on a kind of a relationship footing. And then somewhere in this kind of a maturation, if you want to call it, of the bhakti, you start making deals with Bhagavan. Yes, you give me, and then if you give me, I'll also give you something. See, I put a woolen shawl on you yesterday, and then now I want something to warm up my life. So this next stage of bhakti, the next step in the Ishwarization process, is not gimme, gimme. You give me and I give you. There is a relationship. Artharthi. In Sanskrit, this kind of a bhakta is called Artharthi. The one who makes deals with Bhagavan. In India, they do this shamelessly. No problem. Nobody feels bad about this at all. You go to a goddess temple and you promise her a 9-yard sari if your children clear the exams. No questions asked. And even the teenagers who go to the temples, let me do this. And they will admit, I haven't studied at all for the exam, for some kind of a competitive exam. And I haven't studied, or I haven't studied as much as I should have. So therefore what? Make me pass. Make me get a good grade. Let me get into the engineering school or the medical school. These are the only two options in the minds of parents in India, okay? Not that there are no other vocations in India exist. They do. But in the mind of parents, this is what. And now they have added one more thing, computers. Okay, those are the three areas. And so the teenager prays, give me this. And then what? I'll do something for you. I will give you this. All my pocket money is yours. There is a beauty in this. Even though it looks kind of, what is that? Like it looks kind of obscene. But no, it's not obscene. There is a beauty in this. There is because the relationship is becoming real. Very, very important. This is called artharthi. And we don't stop here. We go a little bit further. And here there is more emotional maturation, more emotional growth, more spiritual growth. They are actually together. They go together. There is more emotional growth, there is more spiritual growth, there is more of a presence, there is more of a surrender. Yes, I wanted this, you did not give me, doesn't matter, you'll give me something else. I know there is more what we call Shraddha, reverence, trust. And you know best what I want. I may not even know what I want. That's a very important understanding. In the beginning of the quest, we think we know what we want. Everybody says, I want this to be happy. That's how the phrase, the idiom originated. Be careful what you ask for because you may get it. And then you have to deal with it. You have to deal with it. You can't unget it because Bhagavan will say, hey, you wanted it, here, have it. And then lifelong you have to take care of it. Lifelong you have to deal with it. So this emotional maturity leads one to a very, very deep surrender. This is all part of Ishwarization. This is the next step. A really deep surrender where one says, I really don't know who you are. I really don't know what I want. You are everything. You know what I want. You know what I need. You know where you need to direct my life. I am but an instrument of your doing. Let me lead my life in tandem with your wishes for me. Let there not be two sets of parallel wishes, two parallel tracks going. Your program for me, whatever you had in mind when you created this weird body and an even weirder mind that I seem to have. But you know the program. You know why I'm here. You know what I'm supposed to do. You know how I need to progress. Bring me closer to what I'm supposed to do. Help me discover that. Help me reduce the resistance and eliminate it altogether so that there is only one will. The Jiva's will, my will. My will means what? It's more of a won't. I won't do this. It's not a will. It's a won't. It's in the form of a resistance. I won't do this. I won't do that. I won't have this. Can you please do this? No, I won't. And that when that won't goes away, then you can talk about a will. So reduce the wants, reduce the won'ts as well. Bring me to a place of acceptance of everything, including what your will for me is. Let me discover that. And you see, it is very difficult to discover that as long as your own wants prevail. Wants and won'ts prevail. That becomes a big boulder of resistance beyond which I cannot see. And Bhagavan says, okay, remain there until you are ready. What if I am not ready? Don't worry, there is another life as well. Next life. Better luck next time. Next time, Scorpion Janma. Why? Because the person was not direct. That's why it goes sideways. All these reptiles, they go like this and then they attack. A biting personality and indirect personality. That's what, becomes. That's why one might be reincarnated as scorpion and crab and all these things. Crab means you tried to grab. That's what it is. It's just a joke, okay? Don't take it seriously and spend a sleepless night. Yeah. This is just for fun. There's so many forms and names. They exist only for the exhaustion of the karma. Jellyfish, just like this. Everything it has eaten you can see. You can see the whole, all the whole anatomy of that blessed animal you can see. Jellyfish. Why this exists? Because if somebody had transparency issues in the previous life, they would be incarnated as a jellyfish. Like this. So therefore, better luck next time means next time one should be lucky enough to have a human incarnation to be able to proceed in this growth. So therefore, the next step in the, what is this, number 5, number 6, I forgot. Don't know. 6? Okay. So the next step in Ishvarization is to say, let there be, O Lord, more of you, more and more of you, and less of me, in me, as me. Let your will prevail. In fact, this is something which is there in many traditions. The same prayer. Let your will prevail over my want. That is what it is. Over my resistance, over my fears, over my difficulty in going forward, no matter where I need to go. You see how this bhakta is compared to the gimme. Look at how far we have come. In Sanskrit, this is called Jignasu Bhakta. Jignasu means Jnatum Ichchu. Ichchu means the one who desires. Desires what? To know Bhagavan. Whoever you are, however you are, I want to know who you are. I want to know how you are connected to me, how you are non-separate from me. At least that's what the sages say. At least that's what the Upanishad says. Reveal that to me. Show that to me. This is the Jignasu Bhakta. Oh, this must be the last step of Ishvarization. No, there is one more step. The last step is called in Sanskrit Jnani Bhakta. The one who already knows, I am non-separate from Bhagavan, but still from the standpoint of the body, mind, sense complex, rehearses that bhakti. And that bhakti takes on a form of radical acceptance of everything that is, accompanied by no wanting of any kind at all. No wanting ever. Wanting comes when there is a sense of lack. But if one is Bhagavan, where is the sense of lack? It's all whole, it's all there. So these are the ways in which one Ishwarizes. And this Ishwarification, one more word, yeah. This Ishwarization, this Ishwarification is an important step to understanding the truth of oneself and so that the words of the Shastra, the Upanishad, speak to us. It is very, very important. We cannot bypass Ishvara. We cannot bypass this step at all. It has to be taken seriously and we have to remain there until which time the fruits of this understanding come. There is a small footnote which Lord Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita. Lest we think from our vantage point, let us say we are Jignasu Bhaktas. Why not? Let us tell ourselves we are Jignasu Bhaktas. And from this vantage point, the gimme bhakta is so inferior. And you give me, I give you, that artharthi bhakta is also so inferior. There is a general sense of judgment. Lord Krishna puts an end to that in the Bhagavad Gita and declares udaraha sarva evate. Udara sarva evate. Udara means all of them, O Arjuna, are extremely exalted. Why? Because you don't need to be a bhakta at all. You don't need to go through this process of Ishwarization. You don't need to acknowledge Bhagavan. You will still be getting your karma phala and everything. You can go through life. You need not acknowledge Bhagavan. You need not relate to Bhagavan. You need not see how to grow closer to Bhagavan in your awareness. You don't have to do anything. In fact, you choose to do that. And so this is where the so-called free will is really free when you pray. This is one of the two instances in which the free will is really free. Otherwise, it's bound up in so many things one wants and so many things that one does not want. Keeping all these things at bay, numerous lifetimes pass us by. And so there's these two kinds of things. There's only two areas where the will is truly free. One, when you relate to Bhagavan in the form of prayer. Why? Because you need not pray. In fact, the whole life one was praying, P-R-E-Y-I-N-G. Preying upon other people's resources, other people's patience. One need not pray. P-R-A-Y, one need not do. But here, one is choosing to pray. And one can rob a bank in the time that one is praying, but one is choosing not to plan a grand larceny and instead pray. That's why the will is free. Whereas a bound-up will does things in a programmed, addicted, habitual basis. I have to have this, so I'm going to do this to make sure I get this. This is where the will is bound up in all kinds of wants and don't wants. No hope here for Vedanta to strike a note of resonance. So then, what else is there? Then we have the another situation where when the will is free. It is when you give. When you give charity, when you build things for somebody, or you donate something, then also the will is free. Because again there is sacrifice. You need not give, but you give anyway. So when you give, you grow. That's why you grow, because there is a certain relief that happens. Before you give, there is this feeling, oh my God, if I give this much, then I will not have anything. This is my favorite thing, I can't give this. No, 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 no. And I'm not talking of money, I'm talking of time, I'm talking of some kind of an inner space, I'm talking of so many things. A kind look, a smile, money also, but not just money. So many other things that one can give. One's favorite food, you sit down to eat your chocolate cake and there is a doorbell and somebody says, oh, there is cake. Already one is in a bad mood. This is what I'm talking about. So in the beginning you feel I can't be without this. I had saved this money or this thing for me, for my family. Now if I give it, then I will be hopeless, I will be helpless. That's a place of fear. That's not a place of trust. But then you overcome the fear, you overcome the hesitancy and give anyway. And then what happens? Then you say, hey, I'm still standing. I'm okay. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. So that's where the will is also free. Otherwise, the will is just a slave of one's raga and one's dvesha. So this Ishwarization is a very, very, very important thing that needs to happen, a transformation that needs to happen in everybody's life. Because no matter which step one is in, it is still an exalted step. It is where one is, and one slowly grows. One slowly grows. With the help of Vedanta Shastra, one will grow. Definitely one will grow. And it gives a certain relief. We are not so obsessed with the day-to-day things. It has a lot of wonderful fruits, this Ishwarization of the universe, including your own body-mind sense complex. Wonderful fruits. You are not worried. And that's why this same mantra, which one? The one that we are studying. Yato vacho nivartante apraapya manasa saha anandam brahmano vidvan na bibheti kadachaneti. This is the version of the mantra that is there before. Then it is changed to kutaschaneti. One word makes a huge difference in the study. It's just amazing. Here also, the words and the mind come back, having beaten a retreat from trying to objectify Bhagavan. Where are you? All these things. What do you look like? And then here, the Vidwan, or the knower, here is not the knower of the self, as the Vidwan in the last iteration of the mantra. The same mantra comes twice in the Upanishad. So the first iteration is what? The Anandam Brahmano Vidwan. So the one who is a Jignasu Bhakta. The one who is wanting to know who this Bhagavan is, the one who has surrendered, the one who is one with everything and has Ishwarized the whole entire universe. Na bibheti, this is a prophecy, is never afraid. Kadachana is never afraid. Never afraid, why? Because I know I am with Bhagavan all the time. The protection, my own bhakti is returned to me. The fruit of my bhakti is returned to me in the form of a chhatri, an umbrella that protects me from all kinds of fallouts. It's very, very nice. The bhakti itself becomes a protective shield, a kavacha. an umbrella which protects me from the onslaughts of karmic residues, from the results of my own action. A landslide here, a mudslide there, a fall here, a broken bone there, all that is not necessary, is not there at all. I am in the protection of Bhagavan. Very beautiful. And this understanding goes a long way in letting go of the doership. The doership which makes one feel guilty all the time. That doership is given up. The bhakti itself erases the doership temporarily, relatively speaking. I relate to Bhagavan and the doership is done away with for the time being because you are the doer, you are everything. These are in fact the tenets of Karma Yoga. From you the results of action come, which I take as prasada. All these things keeps the person sane, keeps the person very well and functional, no longer dysfunctional and insane and disheveled. Functional. Sane. Sane means objective. Sanity, the definition of sanity according to Vedanta is objectivity. We'll be talking more about that in the evening class. So that objectivity one cultivates, one gains. More and more of you, less and less of me, that is the objectivity. Seeing the world as it is rather than as I am afraid it is, or as I don't want it to be, or as I wish it to be. There's a big difference. So this is the prasada of Ishvarization. One can be in a place of relative security. It gives the blessing of security. Great blessing of security. You don't feel alone. Why? Because you're connected to the whole in the form of your painstakingly cultivated relationship with Bhagavan, in the form of Ishvarization of the entire universe, starting with your own body, etc. This is very, very beautiful. Oh, that's wonderful. So this is Vedanta? Not yet. Not yet. We are getting there. This is the footsteps that lead into the sanctum of the self. You have come through the various doorways. And we'll talk about the doorways also. You come through the various doorways. But then to enter the sanctum of this Atma, Brahmatma, one more step is needed. Just one more step. Really? Promise? Yes. Only one? Only one. You have come this far. Yeah, but I am tired and I took in so much today. And then every time feels like one is on the brink of it, and then the knowledge eludes me. It won't happen. Really? Only one more step? Yes. When? When will it be revealed? In the coming classes. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.